About the issue of partisan the partisan divide, how this is so automatically reflects Republicans against bringing them here, Democrats in favor. I mean, isn't it transparently an issue where politicians have staked out their turf with very little regard for the facts?
I'm so glad you asked me that. No, you could not be more wrong. There are issues like that, like when Democrats pretended they cared about port security. This has been a long-standing difference between Democrats and Republicans. Some Democrats on our side, this argument that we are at war and the Democrats want to treat the terrorists like they're criminal defendants, and us saying, no, it's a war. I mean, it was an argument when these cases were going to the Supreme Court, and we were saying, even for terrorists captured on U.S. soil, no, it should be a military tribunal.
What trouble have we had in any of the trials that we've had here? Have they, have they moved into any suburban neighborhoods? Have they opened up shops in any malls?
The problem,
have they raped or murdered anybody?
No, the main problem isn't security.
The main problem is in the head.
No. The main problem is not security, as you seem to think, although your argument, oh, yes, we can handle it. New York City handled 9/11 honorably and heroically. That doesn't mean you want another 9/11 so we can show how honorable and heroic we are. Why not have a military tribunal? The problem, it seems to me, with the civilian trial, and to everyone, is, despite what Eric Holder is saying, I mean, I don't see how all this evidence doesn't get thrown out. I don't understand how politicians and people like you can keep going around in this macho way saying he's guilty, he's going to be convicted.
I know how much he snitched out all of his buddies before they laid a hand on that punk.
Wait, it doesn't matter.
Let me get the rev in before we run out of time.
I mean, I think the problem with the argument, Ann, is that if you already had 3 terrorist trials here, then why weren't they called tribunals and that we were at war? They were terrorists.
Because they were on U.S. soil.
Well, let me finish. One. Secondly, I think that you're ignoring the fact that many of us feel that Guantanamo ought to be closed. To have the trial there would certainly not follow that. And number 3, you have a mayor who ran on the Republican ticket, who has a police commissioner that says there is no security problem. So, I mean, I don't see what...
Wait, who?
The mayor, Michael Bloomberg, who just won on the Republican ticket.
He's not a Republican.
He ran on the Republican ticket.
He ran a Republican line.
And he's independent.
He was endorsed by the Republicans. But I think the problem that you have also is that clearly these guys are going to be tried, and I think convicted here in New York.
I think
did this murdering pig take out 13 innocent people and sow terror in the classic sense of the word, but he also defamed the religion that he professes to advocate. And I think that is a sin that he will be haunted with, even as the military court executes him.
Sophia Bog-Latif is a student at the University of Michigan who has friends in the military.
When I heard this news, I was sickened, and it was disheartening. And I thought about what would these people think of me. At that point, I kept thinking, God, I hope he's not Muslim. God, I hope he's not Muslim. And when I did hear his name, I mean, there's a sense of disgust.
Yeah, she reminds me of our family when we moved to West Babylon, and Papa was used to pray whenever there was a notorious crime, please God that it's not another Puerto Rican. And it was the same thing because it's so hard to integrate anyway, and you really feel for them. But, I think that realistically speaking, the American Muslim community has to be patient with the rest of the country during this rocky time.
Yeah, and I think they have been patient. They just don't want this to be a pretext for anti-Muslim hostility. I mean, they want to protect their families. They've been a part of the American culture since the 20s, and they say that a lot of people just don't recognize this until a horrible incident like the Fort Hood massacre occurs.
Don't you have any sympathy?
I do, but you guys
to ask you for sympathy is
both sound like the theme of my book, Liberal Victims and Their Assault on America. A Muslim kills 13 Americans, and you're worrying about those poor Muslims. And I think the problem here is
that they didn't commit the murder.
4 million
One person committed the murder who happened to be a Muslim.
That's my top concern this week after 13 American troops get mowed down. But I think the problem is
if a Catholic committed the murder.
With the bigger problem, and you like this because I'm not blaming the Muslims for this one, is how the Army reacted, which is the political correctness of the Army. Yes, you do have to worry about all Muslims because we know we can't trust the Army to listen to them when they say all infidels should be beheaded.
Reverend response.
No, I think it's crazy to generalize, to profile on anybody. I mean,
you led the fight against racial profiling on the New Jersey
racial profiling in New Jersey or anywhere else. You cannot blame Muslims any more than you can blame the Oklahoma bomber.
No, but I blame the Army for not doing it.